Hi, I'm Tony Alessi, the team manager of Smart Top Bullfrog Spas Honda, and I'm going to do a walk around this 2020 CRF 450. This is a team Smart Top Honda race bike. Starting at the front of the motorcycle, just looking at the plastic that's on here. This is UFO plastic fender, front number plate, fork guards. We have a custom disc guard. This is from Danica Patrick's dad, who makes this, Patrick Carbon. Also on the front of this motorcycle, you're gonna see a very trick Nissan Works front brake caliper. Let me tell you about that brake caliper right there. That started as a block of aluminum, a solid piece of aluminum, and they carved out this caliper. Inside, it's got a larger piston and special coating where the piston goes through the cylinder. That is a very trick part that's on the motorcycle. We have a DID front rim. We choose to use the LTX front rim. The front tire is a Dunlop spec front tire. This is called a 768F. It has a very low durometer, about 70. Also on the front of this motorcycle, we have a kite front hub. We have very special DID spokes. These are fine thread. They're not a production spoke at all. They're fine thread. We have the Pro Launch device from Works Connection. Also, a couple more little Works Connection parts that we have on the bike. We have a Works Connection cover. We have a Ride Engineering clevis. If you're looking at the brake side, this is a 2005 master cylinder with a custom front brake lever that's made of billet aluminum. The clutch side, again, billet aluminum, non-folding arc lever, Renthal handlebars. Most of the riders on the Honda CRF 450 choose to use the 996 bars. Our guys all like the half waffle grips from Renthal. These are a set of X-Trig triple clamps. The offset on these is 22. They call this the rock clamp. On to kind of more of the middle of the motorcycle now. The frame is standard. There's no strengthening needed to the frame at all. The radiators are stock. We do have them braced up. The radiators are braced from LCW. We do use stock radiator hoses on the bike. As we're going into more of the middle of the motorcycle here, we have the gut seat. We run 6 ribs. Okay, so we run Pro Pegs. These are a titanium foot peg. They come from Moto Stuff. We have this cable guide that comes from Ride Engineering. Basically stiffens up the clutch lever pull, doesn't let it have any slack. There's also a custom clutch arm here that's built by XPR. This chain is a DID chain. It's an ERV7 chain. It's actually a road race chain. It's an O-ring chain. We run this chain because obviously it's super strong, super quiet. Renthal sprockets front and rear. We run a little bit different gearing combination than most people do on our CRF 450 race bike. So traditionally the CRF 450 comes with a 13-tooth counter shaft sprocket. We run a 14-tooth front, and we run a little bit bigger rear sprocket, a 52 rear. We feel that it balances out the chassis quite a bit on the CRF 450. It also makes the power delivery much smoother. Rear hub is kite. Rear rim is also a DID. We run an STX, also with custom DID short spline spokes. We also run a titanium rear axle along with titanium sprocket bolts. As far as the rear rotor goes, it's standard rear rotor. And as we now get into like more of the bigger stuff on the bike, this is Works Showa suspension, front and rear. The rear obviously has a 18mm shaft, full Works rear shock coated. Forks the same thing. These are full Works. As we get more closer into the engine compartment here, starting with the engine, we have Recluse clutch. Now the Recluse clutch is a pretty key component to this motorcycle because it's fully adjustable. Now there's 2 different types of clutches that Recluse has. They have an auto clutch and they have a torque drive clutch. We prefer the torque drive clutch, and it has 3 different spring settings from silver to gold to red. And basically you can adjust the conditions of the track, you know? So if you're looking for more traction, you want to go to a red spring. If you need to get across some set of whoops and you need to get good bite. But if you need more slip, then you want to go to a softer spring like gold or silver. It's the only clutch on the market that's adjustable like that. It has the most clutch plates of any clutch on the market. It's the most durable. So great product, Recluse clutch. In terms of the pipe, we run an Akrapovic pipe. We found that the Akrapovic pipe outperforms all the other pipes in horsepower, in torque. It's the quietest pipe, and it is the highest quality pipe. The mufflers will go a whole season without having to be rebuilt. As far as the engine hangers go on the motorcycle, we are running Works Chassis Lab engine hangers. That allows the bike to have a little bit more flex, and the bike turns better with those engine hangers. The whole engine inside is an XPR spec race engine, top to bottom. You know, pretty much all of the parts are made stronger and perform better. Also in the engine department over here, there is a lighter flywheel that we run for Supercross. It's a little bit lighter than what we would run in a standard motocross environment, so that seems to obviously give more snap, which you'll need when you're jumping triples or big doubles. It allows the bike to accelerate a little bit quicker. We do run a standard shift lever. All of this is tied together with a Vortex Ignition, and the Vortex Ignition is mapped to specifically to the fuel that we run, which is Pro 6, VP Pro 6 race fuel, and pipe that we run. A lot of people miss that step. You know, they feel like, oh, we'll just put an ignition on and we're good. It's a big step to do the mapping, which is done by Chad Braun at XPR, and basically he maps fuel and pipe together, and you get a pretty lethal combination where you have a feeling of connected power. Air filter on this bike is Pro filter. Also, the graphics on this bike, Lee is incredible at Moto Graphics. The rear tire on this bike is unique because it is a spec rear tire. This is called a 783B. Something that we do a little differently than some of the other teams is that we actually run a smaller rear tire. We run a 110/90. Most of the teams run a 120, but we found that the 110, specifically on this Honda CRF 450, allows the bike to turn better, and it actually is better through the whoops because it doesn't catch any edges. We have this bike stand and the mat are both from Moto Concepts. This bike stand is like the lightest bike stand, easy to stack, more good products from Moto Concepts.
Yeah.